every single chopper that you see is different. It's an actual piece of art. Like, it's your own personality on that bike. Like, you can get a sports bike and go through town or whatever, and no one's going to look back twice and look at it, think, oh, it's a nice sports bike. You ride shore on a crazy death trap like a chopper, people are going to look at it. It looks crazy. They sound amazing. They look amazing. If you actually anything to it, and but to ride them, it's like a different aspect altogether. Like, you're not going to be nailing it at 120 or whatever. You're going to be steady 60, 70 miles per hour. It's hardtail. There's no suspension. Stuff's going to fall off. You listen to the car. It's like, is something broken? You pull over, you fix it, you rebuild it. You can do absolutely anything to these bikes, and you become obsessed with them. I've been painting tanks for roughly about 4 to 5 years. Started off on my own stuff, painting like Warhammer and fantasy designs, and then people liked it, wanted me to paint stuff on their tanks, and were willing to pay for it. So started painting stuff on their tanks, and it's just got better from that. Well, sit there, Doc. Well, I think my mum painted when she was young. I actually painted, she went to art college, and that's pretty much how I started off, is learning from her. Did art in school, but every time I wanted to paint in school, it was stuff that I wanted to paint, not what they wanted me to paint. So I do like live art classes, but I didn't want to paint in there what they were teaching me. I wanted to paint fantasy. Everyone ended up going on pit bikes every now and then I got into as a kid, so I've learned from a mistake, but I got into robbing bikes. So I robbed a few pit bikes every now and then, take them around the field, race them around, and then found out that was a bad idea. I shouldn't be doing that kind of shit. Stopped doing that, got my first 125 to get to work. Mate Sean had a holiday suit, which I'd never seen a holiday suit before, at work. He let me have a go on it. Not sure why, but he let me have a go on it. Second day to go on it, I leave with that spike that I want to get, and ended up getting a Harley from there. So the first tank I painted, I kind of threw myself like quite in the deep end. It was I had an Iron 883 Sportster. At the time that I was painting like different stuff, I was like listening to Emperor ST album. Like, the album cover was like a pale horse named Death. That's the first thing I painted on my tank, but I used a completely different paint, like experimenting, trying to get exactly what I wanted. I did different aging techniques and kept adding to it as I rode. Didn't seal it, so some of it came off, but it looked good, so I sealed it after, and I just kept building up on top of it. And like, I could think sometimes when I went to work and there was nothing on, and just bring a paintbrush and a paint pot and start topping up the tank. But one of my friends, like, he saw what I did, and he says, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I'd like a tank myself." And then he gave me this design that he wanted, which was like a Harley-Davidson skull wings. Quite a simple design, but you can really mess it up. Like, you could paint it badly. Yeah, it came out pretty good. And then I did a few more tanks for him, and then from that, because I didn't charge him, I guess if he sees this, he did me a favour, but I didn't charge him anything for these tanks. But I didn't really need to, because it was just a hobby. Yeah, from them few tanks I did for him, people saw it and they just wanted to get some awesome work. Yeah, I've done merchandise for bands and all these different things, but painting on a tank seems to be a lot better, because, cause it's like I don't know, something about it. It's some mystical magic about it that appeals to me. And I like bikes anyway, so painting on a even better. A guy from Texas painted him, a good friend actually, painted him a tank with gun on the barbarian on it. I questioned if I could do it or not, because it's hard to paint someone else's work, but in your own style. But at the same time, Frank Posetti's dead, but his artwork will literally last for a lifetime. And for me to paint something in respect without making it look shit, like, I need to make sure it's like perfect, so that when I've had his daughter, comment on like a picture of the tank, I want to post it saying that's actually really good. That's me sorted. That's me happy. If I respect his name and it's come out well, then perfect. But I'd say my favourite personal tank would be mine, which is the Nazgul. My bike's called Nazgul, the tank's Nazgul. But that was the first time I'd experimented with by doing certain things to the tank, and I experimented with putting blood in paint. So the red eyes are actually a mixture of blood and certain paints and a different chemical, and I managed to seal it into the eyes. That's the thing that I seem to be doing more and more recently with different tanks, is sealing different substances into tanks. But I'm not calling dirty head for nothing, so my entire process is quite it's quite straining, to be honest. This thing that seems to go through my head before I even laid that brush down. I'll stare at it. I won't do anything. I'll just keep staring at it, and then my missus will put my head. She'll be like, "You gonna start that tank yet?" I was like, "I am," but the second I've started that brush, then I'm not going to be able to stop. And there's that big wall of getting over starting it. But the second I've started it, best in God, like, I could go hours, not one stress at well, don't think of anything else other than painting that tank. It's almost like you're going to your own world. You're creating something, and you're not dealing with stresses outside of it. I always like painting because it takes all the stresses of your entire day out, and you can just crack on with the tank. Originally, I started painting in my old garage. There's like a little brick garage, no lighting, so I had to use I used a torch that I strapped to the roof, turn the torch on, just so it was on the bike. So I didn't want to take the tank off my bike, so I painted it on the actual bike. I made a little studio for myself, because it'd be like a good area, because you want somewhere that you can like go into, disappear, and all your work's in there. The walls are surrounded by artwork that you want to be inspired by. I'd like to say people did call it me, but you can mistake that word so many different ways. Like, I had a photographer come around and was taking photos of me, and she was like, she was heading down to see her mum, and she just said to her mum, I was like, "Oh, I'm just stopping off to see Dirty Ed, to take some photos of him." And she was like, "Ew." Story behind it is, because I've always worked in dirty jobs. I've worked in magnesium forges, I've worked as a blacksmith, I've worked as like forging car parts, well, making medical bone replacements now. Dirtiest job I've ever had. So it's like you come out of the job looking like a coal miner. It's either working on bikes, getting dirty, getting oily, working at work, getting dirty, getting covered in dagon grease and stuff like that, or painting, get covered in paint, always dirty, all the time. It's like almost, it's self-explanatory. It's something I ride to work on it every day, which I still think is pretty great, because like it's through some sketchy weather, like sliding all over the place in ice and hailstorms and lightning storms, but you still feel like you're on this crazy ass steed, this medieval steed, this screaming its ass off, oil's leaking out of it. Yeah, it's like a conquest every time you go out on it. As an artist perspective, what more could you want?